everybody, good evening. This is Scott, and you have tuned into the Rookie Pacific Northwest Wine Enthusiast channel here on YouTube, where we like to discuss and drink wine from across the Pacific Northwest. That being said, this is an exciting review for me. Why? Because, to be honest with you, it's been a year in the making. This is a wine from Smoky Rose Cellars out of Walla. This is their 2018 Syrah. Now, everybody that knows me knows when it comes to varietals, I like a dark, brooding Syrah that will just take you and just throw you around. Well, last year, now, Smoky Rose, first of all, before I get too excited, you can tell I'm a little excited about this wine. Smoky Rose is owned by a husband and wife team, Josh and Jody. Oh, let's see, I can't remember their last name. It's right here on the bottle, Rosnowski. And they also have a third owner, which is Josh's sister, Amy. Now, Josh fell in love with wine as a meteorologist in the Air Force. His wife, Jody, is somebody who likes to throw parties and who makes a great hostess. And last year, my wife and I were attending a dinner party at the Marcus Whitman Hotel, and Jody was the hostess for it for a different winery called Taro Estates. And we got to talking, and this is how we got to talking about their own winery. Because we got talking about Syrahs, and she invited us over on Sunday morning at the last weekend of fall release, and she said that they just had a Syrah that they were just releasing, a 2018 Syrah, that will tear your arm off. Okay, you've piqued my interest. We went over there and we enjoyed their wines. And at the time, it's a young wine. So this is the first time I've opened up a 2018. I have multiple bottles of this. And we're going to go ahead and review it. But before I review this last fall release here at first weekend in the month of November for 2021, we went ahead and went back to Smoky Rose because I want to make sure that this wasn't a one-off, okay? And I can tell you that their new release 2019 Syrah is just as aggressive as their 2018. Now, let's go ahead and get into the review of this. And right off the bat, the color on this is a deep, very, very deep, almost purple garnet. The nose on this. Okay, this is an intense wine. Still, after a year, the year that we've had it, and of course they bottled it in 2018. Well, they made it in 2018. I didn't see how long if they aged it or for how long. I believe he said he was aging them for at least 6 months. I could be mistaken on that. Anyways, let's go ahead and go on the nose on this here. I mean, this is still an intense wine. It is a dark fruit wine, and I'm talking black currant, black plum, plum sauce. There's a hint, just a small hint of a black olive note. There's a raisiny, potpourry, almost a deep. Have you ever gotten one of those really dark potpourri? Dark potpourri, or like it's very floral, dark floral notes. There's also a little bit of a spice note to it. And one thing I'll be honest with you, it threw me for a loop, and I couldn't figure out what it was. But it's almost like a tar or a, if you traveled a backcountry road and the county has just freshly oiled a road, it's kind of got that nose on it. There's also a little bit of a hint of cedar or a cedar closet. I mean, this is exactly how I remember this, tasting this Syrah back at their winery in 2020. let's go ahead and have a sip. Oh, and by the way, before I have a sip, this wine, this Syrah, is at 15.5% alcohol by volume. So this is a bold Syrah on the alcohol scale there. So let's go ahead and have a sip though, shall we? This Syrah is exactly what I expect out of a Walla Valley Syrah. Those fruit notes, the dark fruit notes, they grab a hold of your palate and they just won't let go. I mean, that black plum, that black currant is just still floating on my tongue. That tar note, that fresh oil note, hits the mid palate and it lingers on the back side of it. Instead of cedar though, that I got on the nose, I'm getting a little hint of a vanilla note. I gotta have another sip of this. By the way, this wine is medium plus. This is a really full-bodied Syrah. Yeah, let's go ahead and have another sip of this. Okay. Full body, full tannic notes on this. They're not grainy, but they're there. I mean, and when they grip a hold of your palate, I mean, you can tell it dries out your mouth. There's a good bite for a good acidity on it. The finish on this wine is absolutely the flavors. There's nothing really tapering off on the finish on this. Now, one thing that this wine would definitely benefit from is decanting this thing for, oh geez, at least an hour. Obviously, for a wine review, that's really very hard to do. But I'm telling you, if your thing is a bold Syrah that will take a hold of you and go ahead and say, you know what, listen to me, I'm going to go ahead and show you the ropes. This Syrah does it. You know, when Jody said this Syrah would rip your arm off, and she told that to us, I was thinking, okay, we'll see. This is the Randy Savage of Syrahs. I mean, this thing will just go ahead and body slam you body slam your palate if you're not looking for it. The alcohol, by the way, definitely is there. Okay, this reminds me on the alcohol content of those big bold Zinfandels that California sometimes comes out with, but this is a wine not for somebody who is meek, who wants to go ahead and sip and relax. This is a wine that is destined to be aged, and I suspect now that the downside is I had 3 bottles of this, I now have 2, and I'm going to be keeping them in my cellar because this did bottle age really well over the last year, and I remember it being a little bit more brash on the palate. So that has really come through, and I think maybe that's a little bit of that vanilla coming through. But if you just, like I said, if you just want a Syrah and a representation of what Walla Syrah, I think, should be, which is just bold and brooding and take charge, this is a Syrah for you. I mean, my wife and I, we very rarely agree. We're even considering becoming club members just to make sure that we have access to this Syrah, because I suspect that once word gets out about Smoky Rose, you're going to start seeing them quite a bit more. I mean, these guys are a small winemaker, don't get me wrong, and they are doing everything right. They have a great Riesling. I believe they're Chardonnay. Let me go ahead and Wanted to pull that up. I don't know if they have any Chardonnay just ready yet. Nope, they just have the Riesling right now. I think his Chardonnay was still in the barrel when we were there. So, anyways, have you had Smoky Rose? I have a friend of mine that I work with named Pat. I know for a fact he is a club member to Smoky Rose. Him and his wife definitely enjoy it. So, anyways, let me know down in the comments if you've had Smoky Rose or if you've had a Syrah that is as take charge, or what you think is as take charge as this, whether it's from Washington, Idaho, Oregon, California, Australia, or Europe. Let me know. Even I don't to South America. I don't think South America produces too much Syrah, but if there's one down there, let me know as well. Have you had Smoky Rose? If you haven't, if you're in the Pacific Northwest, you need to go ahead and get yourself a bottle of this. So, as always, folks, thank you very much for tuning in. If you would, please go ahead and when the video ends, another video suggestion will pop up. Please go ahead and take a look at that video as well. That really does help out the channel. More so than subscribing, though I'd love to have some more subscribers, and more so than going ahead and hitting the like button. No, YouTube has gotten rid of the dislike button, so can't tell you if you disliked it or not. If you did dislike it, put that down in the comments as well. Anyways, folks, thank you very much. As always, life is too short for bad wine. This is an amazing Syrah that's going to age well. Josh and Jody and Josh's sister Amy, I believe is what her name is. She's also in active duty in the Marine Corps. They've got an amazing winery going on. And by the way, Josh, I got your dad's business card. I met him at the hotel on our way out. So I have the dad. He said he gave it to me. I've got the dad card. So anyways, folks, thank you very much for tuning in. Life is too short for bad wine. Cheers. Smoky Rose. Beautifully done. Thank you. Take charge wine.